So the last Thunderball video that I did was draw 2331 on 2nd of November, and since then I've not done any more because I've been working on this. Now yesterday afternoon I came home from work and I wrote 9.8 million equations on this spreadsheet. This is where they all are. Look at all these equations. There's 1,000 columns and 1,374 rows on each of these 7 new sheets that I've added to the Thunderball spreadsheet that I've made, and all of that is just to fill this in. This is the Thunderball analyzer. So what we're looking at here is the latest result from yesterday, and that was draw 2335. These are the numbers that came out. Machine 5, set of balls 8, and these are all the outstanding coincidences. So for example, if I look at a chart for machine 5 and all sets of balls, since the numbers went up to 39 in draw 965, then we should see that main number 38 is most frequent on that chart. So I'll just show you what that looks like. So I've got machine 5, all sets of balls, up to the draw before the last draw. Since the numbers went up to 39, so we're looking at basically all the draws since the numbers went up to 39 where machine 5 was used, and we're only going as far as draw 2334 to show that before draw 2335, which is the draw that came after this one, main number 38 was most frequent on this chart. So that's one way in which one of the winning numbers stood out, and so that's a way in which it was predictable. Now if we narrow it down even further to the machine and set of balls that was used, then when we look at that chart, when it finally refreshes, see processing 10 million cells takes quite a long time, even for this laptop. So finally you can now see that main number 23 stood out as being the most overdue for its frequency. That doesn't look right, so let me just check that. So we've got 3 times 35, which is 105, and then this one 20 times 5, that's 100. Yeah, so 23. Yeah, I think 23 was definitely the most overdue for its frequency. So if I was going to pick some numbers for each possible machine and set of balls going on the current trend, then maybe I would have picked 23. And if I'd picked 23 and then looked at the current trend machines, which are machine 5 and 6, and the current trend sets of balls, which are sets 5, 6, 7 and 8, and then if I'd looked at a chart for those machines and sets of balls, and only the draws where main number 23 has been drawn, then I would have noticed that Thunderball number 7 was most overdue for its frequency, and main number 39 was most overdue. So maybe I would have picked number 7 as the Thunderball, which pointed to 23 looking at the current trend machines or current trend sets of balls, but not both of those together. So then I would have picked 39, and if you notice that leads to 38 and 15, and the only one that I would have been struggling to find is 36, because none of the other numbers point to that one. However, to follow that exact path, which means picking 38 on that chart, 23 on that chart, 23 leading to 39, leading to 15, Thunderball 7, all these outstanding numbers, I would have had to not be distracted by all of these numbers. So just to give you an example, let's just turn off the main numbers so that we're only looking at Thunderball numbers. See, every single Thunderball number is on there. Obviously there's no Thunderball numbers paired with Thunderball number 7 because there's only one Thunderball in each draw. So there's actually 18 cells on this analyzer that are redundant because they don't do anything, but 360 of them actually contain numbers most of the time. So if I'd have looked at all these numbers, all these outstanding numbers, and just happened to pick the right ones and followed where they led to, and then maybe I would have got 4 main numbers and a Thunderball. So this is Tuesday's draw now. So on Tuesday, these are the numbers that came out, and it was machine 6, set of balls 5, still the same current trend, and this is all of the coincidences. So you can see that main number 8 was definitely most outstanding, and I can show you that on a chart actually, because it really was most outstanding with the current trend. And it had been like that for quite a while, and to be honest I was fed up waiting for number 8 to come out. You notice that it's running very slowly now, this spreadsheet, because it's got 10 million cells on it, so that's really slowing it down. So in future, what I might do is I might just take a screenshot of the analysis and then get rid of all this extra stuff that I've added and just go back to having just the chart and then have the analyzer on a separate sheet so it doesn't slow it down. Well, that's just an idea. I might not actually do that, I don't know. But anyway, this is what I'm talking about. Look where number 8 is. It's at the more frequent end and it's the most overdue by quite a lot, and it's definitely most overdue for its frequency. We've got 38 by 22, which is quite a big number, so main number 8 was really outstanding on that. That's why number 8 was showing as most outstanding on all those charts. And if I show you all the other numbers, you can see number 8 pops up a lot. So I got that one, I got number 8 and I got 22, but you don't win anything for 2 numbers, so total waste of time really. Now let's see if there was a path through all these numbers that led to all the numbers. So going back to the coincidences then. So looking at these charts, it points to main number 3 when we're looking at set of balls 5 as most overdue, and these two pointed to 22, 22 pointed to 10 with set of balls 5 as well, and obviously main number 8 most outstanding, that pointed to 11, so that's all the main numbers. And then main number 3 pointed to 1, 11 pointed to Thunderball number 1 as well. So yeah, all 6 numbers. There was a path that led to all 6 numbers, but problem is you would have had to have seen that path through this, which is like a lot of numbers, a lot of different possible numbers. So pretty impossible to predict random numbers. So looking at draw 2333, which was Saturday's draw, these are the numbers that came out. It were machine 5 and set of ball 6. Let's see what coincidences there were on this one. So to start with, looking at the current trend, if we'd picked main number 21 because it's most frequent and completely ignored all the other numbers, so if we'd ignored all of these numbers, even number 8 that's really most outstanding, all the other numbers that are more frequent, and just focused on that one, then we could have followed this path. I looked at 21, seen that 35 was most overdue for its frequency with the sets of balls that are currently in use, and then looking at 35 we could have picked Thunderball number 14, and then looking at the current trend could have seen that 39 was most overdue for its frequency with 14, and then 39 just leads back to 13, so it goes 21, 35, 14, 39, and that's where it stops. I wouldn't have predicted number 7 because nothing led to that, and nothing led to 27 either. So 3 main numbers and a star number, that's 20 quid. Could have won 20 quid if I'd followed that path, but I didn't because distracted by all these other numbers. So I will just look at draw 2332 now. So these are the numbers that came out. These are the numbers that stood out initially. Let's see if there were any coincidences. Nope. So basically none of these numbers stood out when looking at all machines, current trend, or even machine 6 or set of balls 8 on their own. None of these numbers stood out, so I wouldn't have picked any of them. But if we look at the numbers themselves, you can see 10 points to 25, 25 points back to 10 and 36, also Thunderball number 2. Thunderball number 2 points to main number 21, main number 21 points back to Thunderball number 2. And then the other numbers, 33 points to 36, 36 points to 25, 25 points to a bunch of other numbers. And so that's my analysis for that draw. And then the one that I did in my last video, 2331. See, there was a path that led to all those numbers. So main number 31 stood out with set of balls 6. That pointed to main number 2. Main number 2 points to 19 and 31. 19 points back to 2. And the Thunderball number 7 points to 34. 34 points to 26. And that's all the numbers. So there was a path that led to all the numbers in that draw, but to see the path you would have had to ignore all those other numbers. So sometimes it's the numbers that stand out. Sometimes it isn't. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to have a look at what stands out at the moment. So I'm just going to look at the chart for that. So this is the current trend. Machines 5 and 6, sets of balls 5, 6, 7 and 8. And the most recent draw was 2335. And so this is what the chart looks like for the main numbers at the moment. And over here we've got the Thunderball numbers. So this is what stands out. We've got Thunderball 11, most overdue for its frequency, and main number 28, most overdue and most overdue frequency. So really, it could be basically any numbers. Oh, the analyzer's finally woke up. Here's the outstanding numbers then. So 30 is the most frequent number ever since they went up to 39. 13 is the one that's most overdue for its frequency. And then we've got 28. This is the one I've just shown you, where you can see that 28 is most overdue and most overdue for its frequency. So let's see what stands out with these numbers then. So with 28, that's what stands out. And let's have a look at 13. These numbers stand out with 13. We've got 6. And most frequent one is 30. What stands out with 30 is 19, 38, 35. And so what numbers would I pick? I don't know. I mean, if I wanted to do a different line for each machine, then this is what stands out with machine 5. Let's have a look at Thunderball 11. Thunderball 11 should point to only main numbers. So that's pointing to 30 and 13. Let's see what machine 6 points to. And then if we look at different sets of balls, so we've got set 5. So these numbers with set 5, that's what stands out. And then we've got set 6. That's that one. And we've got 7. Finally set 8. And I'll just show you the last 3 sets of balls with machine 5 as well, so you've seen all of them. So that's machine 5 set 7, machine 5 set 6, looks like that. So I wouldn't put all of these numbers on. I might put maybe 1 or 2 of them on, maybe a Thunderball 11 as well. So I'm not going to make any predictions for the next draw because I haven't really thought about it much yet, but I just wanted to show you in this video this new analyzer that I've written. It took me 5 hours to do all these equations. And so that's what the chart looks like for the current trend at the moment. And that just about concludes this video then. So bye for now.